coronavirus epidemic has caught the global attention as WHO has already termed the condition a public health emergency. With the death toll from the virus climbing every passing day, the authorities back home have started preparations to return the Nepalese trapped in the Hubei province, the center of the epidemic, and other Chinese cities. Good morning, I'm Amar Singh Pradhan and these are the headlines of the hour. The government prepares to rescue Nepali citizens in Chinese cities facing the outbreak of novel coronavirus. China places best possible healthcare for Nepalese affected by the virus. Central Committee members of the ruling NCP question the leader's unusually luxurious lifestyle, demand property investigation of the party leaders to rule out any foul play. Countries around the world close their borders to arrivals from China as officials work to control the rapid spread of the coronavirus. Death toll from the epidemic climbs to 304. And Liverpool take a clear 22 points lead at the top of the English Premier League, the biggest point difference at the top of the history of English Premier League. The Nepal government has informed that 2 aircrafts have been at standby for the rescue of Nepali citizens currently residing in coronavirus-hit Hubei province in China. Minister for Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation Yogesh Bhattarai said that the government has kept 1 aircraft each of Nepal Airlines and Himalayan Airlines ready to rescue the Nepali citizens. He informed that the government will send the aircrafts anytime with the coordination of the Chinese government and will fly back these Nepalese home and admit them in hospital once they reach Nepal.
हाम्रो विद्यार्थीहरूको अवस्था त्यस्तो धेरै प्रतिकूल अवस्थामा छैन भन्ने कुरा हामी पनि विश्वस्त छौं किनभने चीन सरकारले पनि हामीलाई त्यो विश्वस्त गरेको छ त्यसैले दुईटा सरकारको बीचमा समन्वय गरेर कुनै पनि बेला हामी ल्याउँछौं त्यसको निम्ति मेरो मन्त्रालयको तर्फबाट हेर्ने भनेको जहाजहरू पठाउने हो परराष्ट्र मन्त्रालयसँग हामीले समन्वय गरेर जहाजको कल साइन नम्बर पनि दिइसकेका छौं उहाँहरूले भन्ने बित्तिकै हामी पठाउँछौं त्यसलाई यहाँ ल्याएपछि अब चिकित्सकहरूले मेडिकल साइन्सले जुन ढंगले उहाँहरूलाई राख्नु भन्ने कुरा हुन्छ त्यो प्रक्रिया सबै यहाँ पनि उहाँहरूलाई पुर्याउनु पर्छ उहाँहरू यहाँ आउने बित्तिकै आफ्नो घर परिवारमा जान पाउनुहुन्न उहाँहरूलाई सरकारले भनेको ठाउँमा निश्चित दिनसम्म राख्नुपर्छ.
There are at least 190 Nepalese, especially students in the Chinese city of Wuhan, the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak. The embassy of Nepal in Beijing has already begun the procedures to fly back the Nepalese from Hubei province. The embassy has called the Nepalese in Hubei province to contact by 9 a.m. today if they want to return home. Depending upon the travel applications, the government is preparing to charter the aircrafts. The government has started the procedure to rescue the Nepalese from the epidemic hit area after the US, Australia, India and other countries also started flying back their citizens home. The Chinese government has said that it is doing everything possible to ensure the best possible medical care of the Nepalese students pursuing their studies at different universities in Wuhan. Responding to the letter written by the Nepali students to the Embassy of Nepal in Beijing, urging the Nepalese government to evacuate them from the area, the Chinese government, through its embassy in Kathmandu, has stated that it is making best possible efforts to ensure the health and treatment guarantee of Nepalese community residing in China. It has informed that the Chinese Foreign Ministry has established an emergency mechanism to handle and control the epidemic. According to the statement released by the Chinese embassy yesterday, it has been stated that the Chinese government is confident that the outbreak of coronavirus would be prevented, controlled and managed at the earliest. The Chinese government, through its embassy, has appreciated Nepalese contribution to have full cooperation with the WHO for preventing the epidemic. The embassy in its statement has stated that the number of the Chinese tourists visiting Nepal will be affected due to the outbreak. However, it has tried to assure that the Chinese government will encourage more Chinese tourists to visit Nepal to make the Visit Nepal year a success once the outbreak is controlled. The lifestyle of leaders has also become a topic of debate at the ongoing second plenary Central Committee meeting of the ruling Nepal Communist Party. The Central Committee members have demanded investigation on the properties of the party leaders, citing that they have been enjoying unusually luxurious lifestyle without even disclosing their income sources. Although all the leaders could not raise their voice on the issue, some of the leaders participating in the discussions of all 15 subgroups opined that the leaders who have been claiming to represent the society's proletarian masses ironically have lavish lifestyle themselves, which has significantly increased the gap between the party leaders and the public. They even have demanded investigation of the properties of the leaders who have amassed their properties in a clandestine way, citing that the leadership could have instead worked towards uplifting the living standards of the general public. The Central Committee members have also alleged the leaders of having illegal nexus with the smugglers, tax evaders and contractors. The Central Committee members also warned that the party's existence itself would be at risk if the leaders continue to ignore the public grievances. Some of the party leaders, however, termed the remarks as a regular happening and rejected the discontent in this regard. The issue has nonetheless been taken seriously by the party leadership. According to some reports, such a trend has been seen in other major political parties, including the ruling party, which indicates that corruption in the national politics has been growing at an alarming rate. Recently, a report published by Transparency International also cited that corruption in politics has become a major hindrance in good governance. And we'll take a short break here. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The reports drawing conclusions from the group-wise discussions have been submitted at the second plenary Central Committee meeting of the ruling Nepal Communist Party. The remaining groups out of the 15 different groups formed to discuss the party's political report presented their recommendations to the leadership yesterday. 4 groups have presented the recommendations yesterday itself. Group 3 led by Khimlal Bhattarai, Group 4 led by Jagannath Khatiwada, Group 5 leader Thakur Gaire and Group 7 leader Purna Kumari Subedi and Group 12 leader Renu Dahal have already submitted their report to the party leadership.
जसरी बैठक नबसेको ग्यापको कारणले कतिपय कुराहरू प्रकट भएका थिए त्यो चाहिँ विधि पद्धति अनुसार प्रकट भएनन् हिरोइजम स्थापित हुनको लागि पनि उठाइयो अथवा चाहिँ नि सोशल मिडियामा हिरो हुन पनि उठाइयो भन्ने कोणबाट पनि कुराहरू उठेका छन् त्यसका अलावा सरकारले गरेका राम्रा कामहरूलाई जनताको बीचमा लान सकेन संगठन र सरकारको समृद्धिका अभियानलाई जोड्न सकेन यसलाई जोड्नुपर्छ सरकारलाई हेर्ने उचित चाहिँ नि एउटा चाहिँ नि विधि स्थापित गर्नुपर्छ पार्टी र सरकारको बीचको सम्बन्धलाई सुमधुर बनाउनुपर्छ भन्ने कुरा पनि त्यतिकै उठेको छ र प्रतिवेदनमा सरकारले गरेका राम्रा कामहरूलाई पनि छुट्टै विषयवस्तु बनाएर लानुपर्छ भन्ने कुरा पनि उठेको छ
एमसीसी को विषयमा दुईटा कुरा चाहिँ एउटा यो पार्टीभित्र एकरूपता होस् र विवादित मुद्दाहरू जे छन् जस्तो इन्डियालाई किन सोध्नुपर्ने हामीले चाहिँ अडिट गर्न पाउने कि नपाउने वा इन्डो पेसिफिक स्ट्राटेजीमा यो छ कि छैन भन्ने जस्ता विवादित मुद्दाहरू जे छन् त्यसलाई चाहिँ स्पष्ट पारेर आउनु पर्यो र पार्टीभित्र एकरूपता कायम गरेर यसमा अगाडि बढ्नु पर्यो भन्ने कुरा नै छ।
मुख्य कुरा चाहिँ राजनीतिक वैचारिक कुरामा नै एकरूप कायम गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने कुरा अलि बढी नै छलफलमा उठेको विषय भयो। दोस्रो कुरो चाहिँ अब समसामयिक अहिले चाहिँ हड्केको रूपमा रहेको यो एमसीसीको बारेमा पनि त्यत्तिकै उठ्या छ अन्य सङ्गठनात्मक विषयवस्तुहरूमा पनि त्यत्तिकै उठेको छ हैन राजनीतिक वैचारिक सांगठनिक र समसामयिक विषयमा नै बढी फोकस भएर चाहिँ केन्द्रीय समितिहरूले आफ्ना धारणाहरू प्रष्टसँग राखेका छन्।
Group 3 leader Bhattarai of Prime Minister and Chairman KP Sharma Oli-led faction defended the activities of the government. Leader Bhattarai said that although the government made remarkable achievements, the people failed to notice them due to the lack of publicity. However, leaders affiliated with senior leader Madhakumar Nepal-led faction Jagannath Khatiwada and Thakur Gaire and leader Purna Kumari Subedi from Executive Chairman Pushpakamal Dahal-led faction criticized the government and said that it has failed to live up to the people's expectation and has raised questions on the government's working modality. Most of the leaders had opined it would be against the interest of the nation to approve MCC. Chairman duo KP Sharma Oli and Pushpakamal Dahal are scheduled to respond to the group's questions today. The second plenary Central Committee meeting of the ruling party since unification will conclude today itself. And moving on, a collection of English poems, Red Moon, written by 17-year-old Prasasti Aryal, was unveiled in the capital yesterday afternoon. The book was launched at the capital's Silpi Theatre. In her conversation with writer Richa Bhattarai, writer Aryal shared her experience associated with writing the poems along with their backgrounds.
पोएट्रीहरू छ अनि बिचबिचमा लेटर्स छ अनि यो चाहिँ एकदमै हुन्छ नि टिनेजरहरूको लागि मैले एउटा बुक दिएको अनि तिनीहरूलाई चाहिँ एकदम एक्लोपन फिल भइरहेको बेला त्यस्तो टिनेजरहरूको लागि यो बुक हो.
According to the writer Ariel, the poems in the book basically reflect the sentiments of adolescence and her original ideas. And now time for international update. Close their borders to arrivals from China as officials work to control the rapid spread of the coronavirus. The US and Australia said they would deny entry to all foreign visitors who had recently been in China, where the virus first emerged in December. Earlier, countries including Russia, Japan, Pakistan and Italy announced similar travel restrictions. But global health officials have advised against such measures. The WHO recommends introducing screening at official border crossings. It has warned that closing borders could accelerate the spread of the virus, with travelers entering countries unofficially. China has criticized the wave of travel restrictions, accusing foreign governments of ignoring official advice. The death toll from the new virus, which is officially called 2019 nCoV, now stands at 304. All the deaths occurred within China, and the majority, 294, were in Hubei province, where the virus originated. Hubei recorded 45 more deaths yesterday. Across China, there were 2,590 new confirmed infections, bringing the total number of cases in the country to 14,380. State TV quoted the National Health Commission as saying, about 100 cases have been identified outside China. The UK, the US, Russia and Germany have all confirmed cases in recent days. And we have more news coming up, but right now it's time for another short break. And in our Public Voice segment, we had asked the visitors at an agricultural fest at Bakundebesi in Kaveri district what needs to be done to help the local farmers have market access for their products. Let's take a look at what they have to say.
Public Voice.
सबैको सामान्य मूल्य बजारसँग पुर्याउने बोर्ड हुनु पर्यो सबैलाई बराबरी रेट हुनुपर्ने आवश्यक हुन्छ
स्थानीय सरकारले त्यही ठाउँमा बजारको व्यवस्था गरिदियो भने किसानलाई सजिलो हुन्छ
किसानहरुको लागत अनुसारको मूल्य पाउनु पर्यो
बजारले भाव दिनु पर्यो किसानले ल्याएको सामान पनि राम्रै हुनु पर्यो
स्थानीयहरुले उत्पादन गरेको राम्रो मूल्य पाउनु पर्छ
यो मौसममा चाहिँ खासै कृषिको उत्पादित सामग्रीहरु चाहिँ यहाँ देखिएन
किसानको चाहिँ कति पाउनु पर्ने रेट हो त्यो रेट पाउनको लागि चाहिँ सिधै अब किसानसँग डिल गरेर कुनै एउटा बजारमा ल्याएर सिधै बेच्न सक्ने वातावरण मिलायो भने चाहिँ हुन्छ
And now time for our segment Public Pulse, where it texts us with their opinion.
Public Pulse.
Your question is, why has the Education Commission's recommendation to convert private schools into non-profit organizations within 10 years not implemented? Your options are A, legal obstacle, option B, inadequate state capacity, and option C, influence of private school operators. The voting for the question is on. Type NAWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share opinion with us. And let's move on to sports update.
Sports news.
Liverpool have taken a clear 22 points lead at the top of the English Premier League. This is the biggest point difference at the top in the history of English Premier League. In the match played in front of home fans at Anfield Stadium, Liverpool thumped Southampton 4-0. Following a goalless first half, the Jurgen Klopp's men scored all the 4 goals in the second half. Alex Chamberlain broke the deadlock 2 minutes into the second half. Roberto Firmino doubled the lead in the 60th minute. This was followed by the third goal in the 71st minute by Mohamed Salah. It was Salah again who sealed the 4-0 win with a spot kick in the 90th minute. The Reds, who are gunning for the English Premier League title after 30 years, have remained unbeaten in the last 42 matches. The unstoppable Liverpool now have 73 points from 25 matches, while the second-placed Manchester City have 51 points from 24 matches. And it's now time for our special segment Around the World.
There were both celebrations and protests in the UK as it officially left the European Union after 47 years of membership. It took the UK more than 3 years to finalize the divorce since voting for it in a referendum. The historic moment took place at 23 hours or 11 GMT on Saturday night. The World Health Organization declared the outbreak of novel coronavirus as a global emergency, saying the concern was that it could spread to countries with weaker health systems. As the death toll in China and number of patients elsewhere is increasing each day, the US, among other countries, has told its citizens not to travel to China. At least 259 people in China have died from the virus, mostly in Hubei, with almost 10,000 cases nationally. The Indian government announced of selling its entire stake in its national carrier Air India this week. The news came as a much more exciting proposition for potential buyers. However, any bidder would have to take on around $3.2 billion of debt along with other liabilities. The announcement comes more than a year after a bid to sell a controlling stake in the airline did not attract buyers. The divestment of Air India has been a key agenda of the Indian government, which has been trying to offload loss-making companies and improve its balance sheet in the face of slowest economic growth in a decade. This is Sarah Sapsanama for Around the World and Kantipur News Desk.
And before we wrap up this morning news bulletin, here's a look at the top stories one more time. The government prepares to rescue Nepali citizens in Chinese cities facing the outbreak of novel coronavirus. China pledges best possible healthcare for Nepali affected by the virus. Central Committee members of the ruling NCP question the leader's unusually luxurious lifestyle, demand proper investigation of the party leaders to rule out any foul play. Countries around the world close their borders to arrivals from China as officials work to control the rapid spread of the coronavirus. The toll from the epidemic climbs to 304. And Liverpool take a clear 22 points lead at the top of the English Premier League, the biggest point difference at the top in the history of EPL. And that's all for the moment. Our next English bulletin will be at 11 a.m. this morning. Stay with us for more news and entertainment on KDBSD. Good day.